Live from Gillette, Wyoming, Post 22 Baseball is on the air. It's a one-off game in the middle of the week prior to the start of a home series, and it features a rematch of our opening night showdown between the Post 42 Gillette Roughriders and your Rapid City Post 22 Hardhats. And with that, we say good evening, and we welcome you inside our press box here at Latke Memorial Field, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mark Benetti alongside you in the broadcast booth here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and stream live on the internet, as always, on Hardhats-TV. Post 22's road marathon continues, but it ends tonight, and following tonight's matchup against the Roughriders, the Hardhats will see some extended time at home, or at least on their side of the state in South Dakota, with another trip just 20 minutes up the road to Sturgis coming up next Tuesday. Post 22 came off of a 3-game set in Billings, Montana. Should have been a 4-game set, but because of weather, one game got kicked out. A 2-game, 7-inning doubleheader ended up turning into a single 9 against the Royals. That serves still to this day as the Hardhats' only loss of the season. Now 7-1 as they took 2 out of 3 on that road trip and rebounded with a big sweep of the doubleheader shortly after that defeat to the Billings Royals. As I mentioned moments ago, the Hardhats are rematching their opening night opponent in the Roughriders, which that game, to be blunt, was a comedy of errors with 9 runs and 9 combined errors scored between both teams. It went into the wee hours of the evening, finished in 12 innings, but the Hardhats started off what was a 6-0 start to the season and got a big win with Tad Sherbinski on the mound in relief, but my goodness, there was a lot of baseball to forget that night, no doubt about that. So now both teams will square off in the finale of their head-to-head home-and-home series, and it starts in just a few moments. Well, that being said, let's go ahead and turn to our starting lineups for tonight's matchup, and we'll start off with the Hardhats, who are going to bat in the top halves of our 9 innings of regulation in tonight's matchup. Leading off for the Hardhats is number 22, Cooper Bowman. He's out at the shortstop position. Batting second is number 13, Connor King. He'll patrol center field. Batting third is number 18, Alex Weaver. He'll patrol right field. And in the cleanup position is number 30, Jace Caldwell. He's out at first base. Batting fifth is number 21, Matt Hegry. He's in the hot corner at third base. Batting sixth is number 20, Holden Jackson. He patrols left field. Batting seventh is number 12, Mason Messenger, making his season debut to the Hardhats. He is the designated hitter tonight. He had suffered an injury prior to the start of the season, had to nurse it for a bit. Looks like he's ready to go in the 7-hole. Batting eighth is number 25, Ryan Schmidt. He's the backstopper and catcher. And rounding out the batting order in the 9th spot for Post 22 is number 10, Carter Deming, and he is out at second base. Making his debut on the mound tonight is Zach Sumption. He's going to get the start for the Hardhats. Last year played in 5 games, only 4 2/3 innings, so he was pretty much a relief guy, and that was it. He allowed 3 runs, only 2 of them were earned on 7 hits last year, an ERA of 3 right on the dot with 1 strikeout to 2 walks. So not too much action for Zach Sumption on the mound last year, but Coach Torvey has called his number 15 to start off our 9 innings tonight against the Roughriders. And now we're going to shift to our gracious host representing Gillette Post 42. Starting off with number 11, Tanner Richards, the leadoff man, is patrolling center field. Batting second is number 5, Hayden Silty. He is playing second base. Batting third is number 9, Mason Powell. He's out at first base. And in the cleanup position is number 32, Brody Richardson. He is the backstopper and catcher. Batting fifth is number 21, Caleb Driscoll. He'll patrol left field. Batting sixth is number 12, Caleb Lewis. He is patrolling right field. Batting seventh is number 7, Dylan Hester. He's the designated hitter tonight. Batting eighth is number 4, Caden Race. He is in the hot corner at third base. And rounding out the batting order in the 9th spot is number 3, Zach Brown. He's at the shortstop position. Joseph Howers gets the start tonight for Gillette. And last year had 12 starts, going 8-4 with a 1.83 ERA and 67 strikeouts to 22 walks. This gentleman committed to Jamestown University, and in the postseason last year had pitched in 10 innings, only allowed 1 earned run for this team. He's got quite the arsenal of pitches, and a fastball, a changeup, and a slurve, if you will. The power curve, slider curve, whatever you'd like to call that, that is exactly what he has on the mound for the Roughriders. So both managers are meeting with our umpires tonight. They are exchanging their pleasantries as well as their lineup cards and making sure that everything is in good order and to the liking of our game officials. Head coach Kelvin Torvey in his first season with this team, a 7-1 start. He is looking to expand that to 8-1 before He comes back for a 3-game series against Cheyenne Post 6. And those 3 games will be played at home. A doubleheader, 7-inning matchups on the 19th on Saturday night, and then on the 20th on Sunday, a single 7-inning game at 11:30 in the morning. After that, it's Sturgis up the road in Sturgis, post 320 at Pete Lean Field. That's the longest road trip of the year. Sturgis back at home, post 320 back at home. Mitchell comes home, and then the Hardhats will go to the state capitol to take on Pierre on June 3rd. So a couple of home games in the sense of it's right there at home for the Hardhats, not nearly as much arduous travel for the team. So it'll be good to see some home cooking and actually staying in our own beds for a change. And not to say that we're not going to do that tonight. I mean, it's only a 2-hour and 10-minute trip, if that. It was a great trip coming off, though. Guys had Jimmy John's on the bus, and looks like they are ready to get ready to rock and roll here in just a few moments. As I mentioned before, a rematch of the opening game of the season between Gillette and the Hardhats. And again, that was a game that I think most people would like to forget. It was a 3-hour and 24-minute baseball game. It was supposed to be 9 innings. It went 12, and it ended with Carter Deming knocking in the game-winning run on a walk-off error to third base. And that ended up being the 9th combined error between both of these teams. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight. Obviously, Gillette was very seasoned coming into that matchup with 15 games under their belt compared to the season opener for the Hardhats. The Hardhats have played some fantastic baseball as of recently. This will be game number 9 for them tonight. Well, our public address announcer is set to announce the starting lineups for both of these teams, and our umpiring crew as well. Following the announcement of these lineups, we will have the performance of the United States National Anthem, and we'll get all set and ready to rock and roll for first pitch and the finale of this 2-game series between both of these teams, the Gillette Roughriders of Post 42 and your Rapid City Post 22 Hardhats. With that being said, we're going to take an extended step aside, and when we come back, we'll have first pitch between these two adversaries in just a few moments. You're listening to the official radio home of Post 22 Hardhats baseball here on ESPN Rapid City, and also streamed live on the internet on Hardhats-TV. Brilliant performance of the United States National Anthem leads us to the moment we've all been waiting for tonight, and that is first pitch of this rematch between the Gillette Roughriders of Post 42 and your Post 22 Hard Hats. Thanks again so much for joining us this evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM and 1340 AM. And as always, we are streaming live with video coverage of the Hard Hats on Hardhats-TV. If you don't know how to get there, go to YouTube, search Hardhats-TV or Post 22 Baseball. It's a live channel. You can pick up the game and watch it in its entirety. And if you liked it so much, afterward the game will be logged and chronicled. You can watch it there once again. Well, the Roughriders have now taken to their respective defensive positions. On the mound is Joseph Harris. He will take on the top three of the Hard Hats batting order, and Cooper Bowman, the shortstop, Connor King, the center fielder, and Jace Caldwell, the first baseman. Surrounding Harris on the field, the defensive alignment for the Gillette Roughriders. At the catcher position is Brody Richardson. At first is Mason Powell. Second, Hayden Silty. Shortstop, Zach Brown. And in the hot corner at third is Caden Race. Left to right in the outfield, Caleb Driscoll, Tanner Richards, and Caleb Lewis. Post 22 comes into this matchup with a 7-1 record, looking to make that 8-1 by the end of tonight's 9 innings. They met the Roughriders on their season opener, which seemed like ages ago. Just the way that this season's progressed already. It's been a very fast start. This is the 9th game of the season for the Hard Hats. They took the win 5-4 in 12 innings of absolute chaos between both of these teams. It was a 3-hour and 24-minute baseball game. It went 12 innings. There were 9 combined errors between both teams, including 5 for the Hard Hats. And so the Hard Hats are looking to avoid a repeat of that in tonight's rematch. Harris set to look into Cooper Bowman. First pitch is swung on, and it's ripped foul first base side, and we are underway at 6:31 tonight. 76 degrees out. It's absolutely gorgeous as the sun is starting to slowly set. So no balls and a strike the count to Cooper Bowman as he fouls off that first pitch to the first base side. 0-1 is fouled off to the exact same side, although this time it's out of play. And quickly Bowman is in an 0-2 hole. Cooper Bowman, second best batting average on the team at .344 in the last 8 games coming into this matchup. 0-2 is his count. Harris looking for his first K in his first batter. He deals the 0-2, and that's upstairs. Ball and 2 strikes now to the Hard Hat shortstop. Harris agrees on his sign. He's going to go full windup, and the big right he deals a 1-2, and that's high and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes now the count here to Bowman. Cooper Bowman getting ready for college baseball action next year at the University of Hawaii. Very much looking forward to watching where he goes. 2-2 is fought off foul again, and Bowman in a battle here at 5 pitches and a 2-2 count. Connor King, the lefty, is on deck, followed by Alex Weaver. Those 3 gentlemen due up here in the top of the first. Cooper Bowman seems to have solidified himself in that leadoff spot. Since about the 3rd or 4th game of the season, that's all he's done offensively is leadoff. 2-2 again. Swung on and missed, strike 3, and that is the first K. And the first batter faced for Joseph Harris. 1 up, 1 down for the Hard Hats on offense, and that's going to bring us to Connor King, the left-handed hitting center fielder. 5th best batting average for King on the roster at .281. He has batted in every game so far this season. And first pitch from Harris nearly hit him, but King got away from it. 0-1 the count to the Hard Hat center fielder. King had a fantastic weekend, especially in the final day. He had 4 RBIs for 2 games. His 1-0 pitch, a called strike on the outside corner, and the count evens up at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike the count here to King. Base path's empty and 1 out. We just started, top of the first. And the next pitch is way high and outside. 2-1 now to King. Alex Weaver patiently waits in the on-deck circle. Harris sent, full windup, and the 2-1 is swung on, and it's chopped to first. Stops made by Powell. He says, "I've got this, guys," touches the bag, and that's 2 down for the Hard Hats. 3 unassisted in the book. 2 up, 2 down now brings us to Alex Weaver. Alex Weaver's offensive game has picked up recently. Comes into this matchup adding 241. And has also batted in all 8 games. He's scored 6 times. He's knocked in 3. Struck out twice compared to 4 walks. Full windup for Harris and his first pitch to Weaver. Breaking ball caught the inside for strike 1, and it's 0-1 to Weaver. Beautifully placed pitch there by Harris. 0-1 the count. And the pitch. Swung on, and it's check swung into foul territory, first base side. And it's quickly 0-2 now to the hard hat right fielder. Weaver primarily playing at left, but with Holden Jackson in the lineup this time around, they have shifted him to the opposite side of the outfield. And it's not every day that Holden Jackson's had a snap in the outfield, so it's good to see him get out there every now and then. 0-2 from Harris. Swung on and missed, strike 3, and that's going to do it. Pair of strikeouts in the top of the first, and the Hardhats go down 1-2-3 fashion, which, as we all know, means no runs, hits, errors, or anybody left on base. We've played a half a frame, and just as the game started, we're still scoreless. We're going to take a quick step aside. When we come back, it's the bottom of the first and the top of the Roughriders order here on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV. Well, the Hardhats begin their transition from offense to defense and will now take to the field. And Zach Sumption will make his debut on the mound this season. And we'll take on the top 3 in the Gillette batting order. Tanner Richards, the center fielder, will lead off. He's followed by Hayden Silty, the second baseman, and Mason Powell, the first baseman. Defensive alignment surrounding Zach Sumption for the Hardhats. At the catcher position is Ryan Schmidt. At first base is Jace Caldwell. Second base, Carter Deming. At shortstop, as always, is Cooper Bowman. And in the hot corner at third is Matt Hegre. Left to right in the outfield, Holden Jackson, Connor King, and Alex Weaver. So Zach Sumption, his first start of the season. And he has yet to see the mound this year. He got very little playing time on the mound last year, only 5 games. 4 2/3 innings of work. He had an ERA of 3 right on the nose with a strikeout to 2 walks and 3 runs allowed, 2 of which were earned, 7 hits. So Tanner Richards, the center fielder, will face off Zach Sumption first. And again, we're still at the early parts of this season, so Coach Torvey wants to see what kind of a rotation he can rely on moving forward. So this isn't out of left field, or in this case right, because that's where Zach Sumption normally plays, to see him on the mound. First pitch from Sumption in his first start of the year is a called strike. An off-speed pitch. It's 0-1 to Richards. So we just started the bottom half of the first. Richards, the first batter for the Roughriders. Here comes his 0-1. Called strike again on the outside corner, and Sumption's already off to a decent start on his first batter with an 0-2 commanding count. And here comes the 0-2 from Sumption. Swung on, ball is chopped to the left side of the infield. Bowman gets it on a high hop, and his throw to first is low, but Caldwell got it on a great scoop, and the throw is in time. 6-3 in the scorebook, 1 up, 1 down for the Hardhats on defense, and now that'll bring us to number 2 in the Roughriders batting order, to Hayden Silty, the second baseman. And first pitch from Sumption, swung on and missed. My goodness. 4 pitches, 4 strikes for Sumption so far. He's off to a great start finding the zone. 0-1 the count here to Silty. And Sumption deals. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air. Right side of the infield, but in foul territory. Caldwell's underneath it, and he makes the catch. Pop 3 in the book, 2 up, 2 down. And that'll bring us to Mason Powell, the first baseman. 2 and 3 in the batting order in this game were the same as the first meeting between both of these teams. Silty reached on a lot of errors in that game. And now Mason Powell looks at an 0-1 count. And the next pitch is swung on and missed. Strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes to count to Powell. We have 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. We're still scoreless, and stepping out of the box is Mason Powell. Powell went 2 for 7 in that first meeting, and his 0-2 is swung on and fought off foul. And he stays alive, no balls and 2 strikes. Assumption looking for his first K to end the first. 0-2 pitch. Swung on, ball's lined right up the middle. It's going to drop in front of King for a base hit, and it took a weird skip. But King ends up getting the stop, and it's a 2-out single for Powell. So a 2-out single for Powell will now bring us to the cleanup hitter, Brody Richardson, the catcher. Richardson batted in the 6th hole in the last game that both of these teams played. He went 2 for 4 with a walk and a double. Did not come around to score once, though, and didn't even play in extra innings. First pitch from Assumption, called strike. 0-1 the count. Richardson has a man on first and 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. Still scoreless. And the 0-1. That pitch missed low, and that's the first ball of this start that Assumption's thrown in 11 pitches. Ball and a strike the count. Assumption checks the man on first. Quickly to work, he's going to go. And the 1-1. Missed upstairs, 2 balls and a strike. Assumption's been very quick to work. He doesn't take time to think about much. He commits to whatever the call is and just gets right to it. 2-1, swung on, popped high in the air, but foul. And on top of our press box, if you could hear the thud, and it's 2-2. If Richardson's retired, the heart of the order's due up in the top of the second. If not, Caleb Driscoll's on deck for Gillette. Assumption check to first isn't there in time. Assumption showing a lot of spunk on the mound. I know it's only 1 inning, so it's very early to say that, but he came ready to compete. 2-2. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air, but foul again. And the count will hold even at 2-2. Assumption about to deal his 15th pitch, compared to Harris' 12, his counterpart in the top half of this frame. 2-2. Misses low, and the count goes full. So Richardson has a big payoff pitch coming up. Could either end or perpetuate the inning, an extra batter. Assumption pitching from the stretch. Taking his lead off of first is Powell. And payoff from Assumption. Swung on, chopped right up the middle. And Bowman and Deming can't get the stop. It goes into center, and Connor King's going to hang on to the ball and throw it into Deming. So a bleeder right up the middle there for Richardson, and advancing all the way to third in the chaos was Mason Powell. Back-to-back 2-out singles has men on the corners now for the Roughriders, and that's going to bring us to Caleb Driscoll, the left fielder. Driscoll hit in the same spot as well in the 5-hole. And he went 2 for 6 with a strikeout, a double, an infield single, and 2 runs scored in that first matchup of the season. So men on the corners and 2 out. Hardhats in a bit of a jam here. Assumption looked like he was going to mow down the top 3, and back-to-back singles with 2 outs. First pitch, swung on, hit to the left side, and it's in the gap for a base hit. 1 run's going to come in and score. Jackson Fields from left to get to his cutoff man. And the Roughriders have struck first. A 2-out RBI single for Driscoll, and it's a 1-0 Roughriders lead. Richardson advances to second in the sequence. So it'll be men on first and second for Caleb Lewis now, the right fielder. He was the leadoff man the last time both of these teams played. He struck out 4 times and went 0 for 7 in that first game. And Lewis looks at a first pitch ball. It's 1-0. He's the left-handed hitting right fielder. First lefty that Assumption has seen. And the 1-0. High and away, it's 2-0. So it looked like a very promising start to this inning for Zach Shumshin has turned into a 1-0 deficit for the Hardhats. And back-to-back-to-back 2-out singles. Next pitch skips low, and quickly it's a 3-0 count now to Lewis. And Shumshin's in jeopardy of loading these bases up, which would bring up the DH, Dylan Hester. 3-0 pitch. Called, strike at his knees. No way that Lewis was going to pull that bat off his shoulders unless that was a hanging meatball. So 3-1 the count. 1-0 the Rough Riders lead with men on first and second, and they take their lead. 3-1 from Shumshin. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air to center field. Connor King is backtracking. He's going towards the warning track. He makes the catch, and that is finally going to put an end to the madness for the Hardhats on defense. 1 run was scored on the power of 3 hits for the Rough Riders. No errors charged to the Hardhats, and 2 men left on the base path with 1 in scoring position. We have played 1 inning of baseball, and the Rough Riders have struck first. They have a 1-0 lead. We'll take a step aside and come back with the heart of the order in the top of the second for Post 22 here on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV.
Coke Zero goes with things like this. This. And this. Coke Zero tastes like this.
He shoots! He scores!
It sounds like this. It feels like this. So when the game is on, try it with this. Coke Zero. Real Coca-Cola taste. 0 calories, 0 sugar.
Post 22 Hardhats baseball here on ESPN Rapid City is presented by Courtesy Subaru, Shields, Qdoba Mexican Eats, Renewal by Anderson, Sicky's Garage Burgers and Brews, Mustang Disaster Cleanup, and the Man Salon. We've played 1 frame and we only have 1 run. That belongs to the home side Gillette Rough Riders. Still 8 innings to go, and to the top of the second we will go. Numbers across the board, the Hardhats, it's just zeros across, no runs, hits, or errors. And for the Rough Riders, it's 1 run on 3 hits, no errors on defense. Jace Caldwell, the lead off the top of the second for the Hardhats, the heart of the order, playing at first base. And his first pitch from Harris is outside for ball 1. Jace Caldwell comes into this matchup batting .286 on the season. He's batted in all but 1 game this year. 1-0 pitch. Swung on, and that ball is ripped into left center, and that's going to drop for a base hit. It's going all the way to the wall. Caldwell rounds first. He's going to head for second and leads off this inning with a stand-up double. And that's exactly the response the Hardhats needed to start off this top half of the second inning. So a leadoff double, a man in scoring position, now brings up Matt Hegre, who had 1 heck of a weekend over there in Billings. A 9th inning heroic double to get on base as the tying run in the first game was brought around to tie the game, bring it to extras. And then against the Scarlets, game 1 of the Sunday doubleheader, hit the first home run of the season for the Hardhats, a 3-run blast over the left field wall. His first pitch is upstairs for ball 1. One 1-0 is the count to Hegre. Hegre on the season is batting .250 with that 1 home run and 4 ribbies under his belt. He's batted in all but 1 game as well this season. Ball and no strikes to Hegre. He has a man on second with no one out here in the top of the second. Tying run is on board. 1-0 pitch is high and away, and it's 2-0. So 2 balls, no strikes the count. Jace Caldwell takes his lead off of second with no one out in the top of the second, and stepping off the rubbers, Harris, so he'll take a step back. Matt Hegre was also defensively sound on Sunday as well. In the second game, he had 7 putouts, and 3 of those 7 came in 1 inning in particular. 2-0 to Hegre, swung on and missed. And now it's 2 balls and a strike to the Hardhat third baseman. But that was great to see how defensively sound he was as well, on top of how he provided the offense. Base hit would most surely tie this ball game, depending on where it's hit. 2-1 from Harris to Hegre. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air. Foul territory, first base side. Powell's chasing it, and despite his best efforts, it's going to bounce in front of him and over the fence. 2-2 now the count here to Hegre. Hegre steps back in the box, and it looks like everybody's back to their respective positions. Poor Mason Powell looked like he ran a football field trying to grab that ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count. Harris taking his time with the sign, and he agrees on one. From the stretch, 2-2. That's upstairs, and the count goes full to Hegre. So 3 balls and 2 strikes now. First payoff pitch for Harris in this start. Caldwell's going to take his lead off a second. Leadoff double got him there to start off this top of the second. Payoff. Caught him looking. Strike 3 on the low outside corner. Hegre doesn't agree with it, but in a scenario like that, you have to protect against a pitch that close. So Hegre down on strikes with a backwards K in the book. That's number 3 for Harris in this start. 1 down, still with the tying run in scoring position, and that'll bring us to Holden Jackson. Only the 4th game in which he has batted, and he's batting .333 on the season. And he tries to check to second. Caldwell off the bag, and they've got him going to third. It was a delayed steal for Caldwell and a delayed reaction on the mound as well from Harris, and it played right into his hands. So the tying run now taken off the base path. 1-4-5. And now Holden Jackson has an empty base path and 2 outs. And now Harris will look into Jackson for his first pitch. And that is called strike on the low outside corner. 0-1 to Jackson. Again, Jackson batting .333 on the season in 3 games. Coming into this 4th in the batter's box. 0-1 pitch. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air to shallow center. Underneath it is Richards. He makes the catch, and that is going to end the top half of the second. Well, what could have been a potential tying scenario for the Hardhats was a race due to a base running gaff. No runs on a hit with no errors and no one on the base path left on. And at the end of an inning and a half, the Roughriders still maintain a 1-0 lead over the Hardhats. 7, 8, and 9 are due up, starting off with the DH Dylan Hester. For the Roughriders, we'll take a step aside and come right back here on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV. Well, the Hardhats had a chance to try and tie this one up in the top of the second with a leadoff double. Instead, it turned into a base running gaff that caught the runner stealing third. Holden Jackson flew out shortly after to end the inning, and now the Roughriders looking to expand on their 1-0 lead as we come to the the bottom of the second inning. Dylan Hester, the DH, to lead off, followed by Caden Race, the third baseman, and Zach Brown, the shortstop. First pitch from Sumption, a called strike on the outside corner. 0-1 the count here to Dylan Hester. Hester played cleanup in that first matchup on the season opener for the Hardhats. 0-1, swung on, hit right up the middle. Bowman couldn't get it from short, and it goes into center for a base hit. So a leadoff single for Hester, and the Roughriders are rolling on offense right now. That's going to bring us to Caden Race, the third baseman. Caden Race, I swear that guy was either a ball magnet or he was issued a free pass. In that extra inning game, he played in extra innings, went 0 for 1 with 3 walks and 2 hit by pitches. That's one heck of a stat line in a marathon of a ball game. Bunt is shown by Race. Throw to first on the pickoff, though, not there in time. So Race looks at ball 1, showing bunt. So 1-0 his count. Again, Race 0 for 1. 3 walks and 2 hit by pitches. Check to first again from Sumption is not there in time. 1-0 is the count for Caden Race. And the pitch. High and inside, 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 now the count here to Race, the third baseman for the Roughriders. He has a man on first with a leadoff single. That was Dylan Hester, the DH. No one out here in the bottom of the second. And the 2-0. High and inside. Oh, they called strike. 2-1. Looked a little high and inside there, but called strike. 2 balls and a strike the count now to Hester. To Race, excuse me. And check to first, not there in time again. 2 balls and a strike the count still. Waiting on that 4th pitch. Sumption from the mound, comes from the stretch. And the 2-1 pitch. Bunt is showed, and bunt is dropped foul down the third base line. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count. Race is feeling lucky. Maybe he attempts the bunt again, but I sincerely doubt it. 2-2 now the count. As Race steps back into the right-handed batter's box. 1-0 is the Roughriders lead. Still no outs and a man on first here in the bottom of the second. 2-2 pitch. Swung on and foul tipped into the glove for strike 3. So Sumption gets his first strikeout of the year and a key first out recorded. 1 down, still a man on first, so the double play in effect to potentially end the inning, and that's going to bring us to Zach Brown, the shortstop. Brown batted in the 7-hole in that season opener. He ended up going 2 for 4 with a pair of walks, a pair of singles, and a strikeout. First pitch is fouled off first base side, and Brown's behind 0-1. If the double play doesn't end the inning, Tanner Richards back at the top of the order is due up here in this bottom of the second. He'll be next. Sumption a quick peek to first to look at Dylan Hester. Runner goes. Next pitch swung on and missed. The ball was dropped, though, by Schmidt. And taking the steal at second is Dylan Hester. So now Hester is 180 feet away from giving the Roughriders a second run. Brown, though, is in an 0-2 hole, so it's key for Sumption to try and get an out at the plate here. Take some pressure off his defense. Triple take to second. 0-2. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. And that is back-to-back strikeouts for Sumption. 2 down with a man in scoring position for the Roughriders, and that is going to bring us back to the top of the order to Tanner Richards, the center fielder. So man in scoring position, the Roughriders with a 1-0 lead and 2 outs, bottom of the second. Sumption a double take to second and his first pitch. High and inside, ball 1. 1-0 the count to Richards. 0 for 1 on the ball game. Grounded out to short to start off the contest. It was a great scoop by Jace Caldwell at first to register the out. Triple take to second for Sumption and the 0-1. Swung on and it's chopped to third. Hegre can't get the stop. It goes into left. Rounding third and heading home is Hester. Going to second is Tanner Richards. And the Roughriders have a 2-0 lead. Hegre couldn't come up with that backhanded glove maneuver. And that's going to be an E5, I would almost imagine. So Hester comes in to score and an E5 charged. 2-out error, and that was a costly one. And now we go to Hayden Silty. And Sumption deals upstairs. 2 balls and no strikes now to Silty. 2 outs and a man on second again. Hardhats have to get out of this one. Sumption from the stretch, deals. Called strike on the outside corner, and it's 2-1. 2 balls and a strike from Sumption to Hayden Silty, the second baseman. 0 for 1 on the ball game. He fouled out in first base side to Jace Caldwell. 2-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. Low and away, and it's 2-2. Good pitch placement there by Sumption, but once again, he's at a 2-strike count with 2 outs. He's got to get out of this. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count. And the pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike three. Ball's dropped. He's going to try and take on first. Schmidt, the throw, is in time, and that'll end it. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Assumption, but damage was done on a crucial error committed by Matt Heggery, the Hardhats' third baseman. So for Gillette, it'll be a run scored on the power of 1 hit with 1 error charged to the Hardhats, and 1 man left on the base path in scoring position. We've played 2 full innings of baseball, and the Hardhats trail the Roughriders 2-0. We'll head to the top of the third. 7, 8, 9 due up for the Hardhats, leading off with Mason Messenger, his season and Hardhat debut here on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV. Two innings have been played here from Ladke Memorial Stadium in Gillette, and the Hardhats trail 2-0 through 2 innings, giving up a run in each of those frames. Numbers across the board. For the Hardhats, it's no runs on a hit with 1 error, and on the other side for the Roughriders, it's 2 runs on 4 hits with no errors on defense. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV. We go to the bottom 3 of the order, and Mason Messenger due up, making his Hardhats debut. And he will take on Joseph Harris in his 3rd inning of this start. First pitch is fouled off. 0-1 the count. Mason is the younger brother of Drake. Drake Messenger, somebody that I got to watch my first 3 years with the team. Ended up going to the University of Oregon, I believe. He was very high on the Ducks gear, no doubt about that. 0-1 pitch misses low and away, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Ball and a strike is upstairs. And press box, and the Joseph Harris, his 4th strike. 2-2. Swung on, and it's fouled again over our press box. And the count will hold even at 2-2. Battle in his first game in the Hardhats lineup this year. He had a lower body injury that he had suffered prior to the start of the season. Again fouled, so this is good. His first competitive pitches. And he's back of this happen. L4 in the book. 1 up, 1 down for the Hardhats on defense brings us now to Brody Richardson, the catcher. Leadoff men for Gillette in this game now 1 for 3 through 3 innings. But the one guy that hit, got on base, came around to score on an error. First pitch from Sumption's a breaking ball low and inside. 1-0 the count to Richardson. Richardson has 1 of 4 Roughriders hits. That came back in the bottom of the first. His 1-0 pitch is a called strikeout, an off-speed pitch. Nice changeup from Sumption, and it's 1-1. Base path is empty here for Richardson. Sumption is very quick to work on the mound. And the 1-1. Swung on, ball's hit to the right side of the infield, through the gap and into right for a base hit. And Weaver fields it. And another hit for Richardson, 2 for 2 with a pair of singles. This one comes with 1 out here in the bottom of the third, and that's going to bring us to Caleb Driscoll, the left fielder who is 1 for 1 with an RBI single. He knocked in the first run of the ball game for Gillette. Sumption's going to come from the stretch, and his first pitch to Driscoll is inside, ball 1 on a fastball. Caleb Lewis, the left-handed hitting right fielder, is on deck unless the double play ends the inning. Here's the 1-0. That's high and inside, nearly buzzed the tower. It's 2-0. The last thing Sumption needs is to start issuing free base runners. Luckily for him, he does not have a walk in this start yet. He does have 3 strikeouts. 2-0. Swung on, and that ball is turned on, but it just drops. Foul. And it's 2-1. 2 balls and a strike now the count to Driscoll. With a man on first and 1 out here in the bottom of the third. It's a 2-0 Gillette lead. Sun decided to come out now, so it's pretty bright on the field. Sumption takes a peek at first. Takes his time. Here's the 2-1. Swung on. Ball's hit high in the air to right center. King is on his horse. King makes the catch on the run and gets it into his relay in Deming. A nice play defensively from King. The F8 in the book. 2 down. And now it's going to bring us to the left-handed hitting right fielder, Caleb Lewis. Now this is almost a point for the Hardhats. How many times have they gotten to 2 outs in an inning in the early stages of this ball game and they couldn't close out? They need to shut down here and avoid a third Gillette run. First pitch to Lewis, a called strike on the outside at his knees. It's 0-1. Sumption takes a look at first and the 0-1. Called strike again. And Sumption quickly to work is up 0-2 against Caleb Lewis, who's 0 for 1 with a fly out to center. Hardhats a pitch away from getting out of this, but we've said that already multiple times. 0-2 pitch. Just missed, and they're going to let the runner go. He took off for second. So Brody Richardson advances on a defensive indifference. A ball and 2 strikes the count with a man in scoring position now for Lewis. So 1 ball, 2 strikes the count, and the pitch. Caught him looking, strike 3 with a breaking ball in the outside corner. And that's the 4th strikeout for Sumption, and the Hardhats get out of this one this time around. No runs on a hit with no errors and a man left in scoring position for the Roughriders. We've played 3 innings of baseball, and the Hardhats still trail 2-0. We'll be right back with the top of the 4th and the top of the Hardhats order in just a few moments here on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV. For the Hardhat fans tuning in that are also Rapid City Rush hockey fans, you can join myself and Danny Battaccio on the air next season as the Rapid City Rush gear up for their 11th season of hockey in the Black Hills and their 5th in the ECHL. The full schedule just got announced yesterday. A couple of interesting points on it, but I'm very excited to see the divisional slate for the Rush playing 48 of their 72 games in the regular season against Mountain Division opponents. We'll see the Idaho Steelheads the most. And they will also, for the first time ever in team history, play against the Florida Everblades and the Atlanta Gladiators. Back to the top of the order for the Hardhats here in the top of the 4th. Bowman, King, and Weaver due up in that order. Cooper Bowman, the first of 6 Joseph Harris strikeouts in this start. And the first pitch to Bowman. Swung on, and it's chopped just foul. Third base side. 0-1 to the Hardhats shortstop. Numbers across the board through 3 innings of play. For the Hardhats, it's no runs on 1 hit with 1 error. And for the Roughriders, it's 2 runs on 4 hits. No blemishes on defense. Harris is going to come from the full windup here. And his 0-1 to Bowman. Swung on, and that ball's hit high in the air to left field. That ball has some legs, and it goes all the way to the wall and takes a bounce. Bowman's going to round first, and he is into second. And for the second time in the last 2 innings, the Hardhats have a leadoff man on with a double. So the Hardhats get a leadoff man on and in scoring position as well, and that's going to bring us now to Connor King. So Bowman gets his first hit of the ball game. This is the second for the Hardhats. Connor King comes up 0 for 1 with a ground out to first. Harris steps off the rubber, and Bowman retreats and now takes his lead back at second. Leadoff man is in scoring position for the Hardhats. A check to second. Bowman's back, but nobody was covering the bag. That was just a look to make sure he's as tethered as possible to second. And Harris' first pitch to King catches the inside part of the plate for a strike. It's 0-1 to the left-handed hitting center fielder for post 22. King came into the game batting .281 and is 0 for 1 tonight. Harris will look to Bowman at second. And the 0-1 to King. Swung on and it's fouled off, and he's quickly behind 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes to King with Bowman in scoring position. Leadoff double to the left over the head of Caleb Driscoll. Harris takes a look at second, 0-2 to King. Swung on and it's just fought off foul, first base side, and just past the Roughriders dugout. Count will hold at 0-2 now for the left-handed hitting Hardhats center fielder. Alex Weaver patiently waiting in the on-deck circle. No balls and 2 strikes to count. Harris likes the sign. Quick look to second. 0-2 to King. Swung on and it's fouled to the meshing in front of us. And lather, rinse, repeat. No balls, 2 strikes. Hardhats trailing 2-0. The leadoff man is in scoring position, though, so a good opportunity for King to try and have this deficit. Bowman trying to toy with Harris on the mound, and now time is called by King. So he'll take some time to think about this one. No balls and 2 strikes to count. And King ready to go. Harris, 0-2 pitch, low and inside. And King stays alive at a ball and 2 strikes. King looking for his first hit of the ball game. Depending on where he places it, it could have the deficit. Right now, that's at 2-0. Harris will look to second. 1-2 pitch to King. Caught him looking, strike 3. And that's strikeout number 7 for Harris. 1 down, still with a man in scoring position for the Hardhats. That'll bring us to Alex Weaver. 7 strikeouts for post-22 batters now. And surprisingly enough, only 2 of them are, 3 of them are backwards Ks. And Bowman's going for third. First pitch is fouled, though, first base side. It's 0-1 to Weaver. Weaver 0 for 1 in this ball game. He was the second of what are now 7 Harris strikeouts. Joseph Harris pitching very efficiently as well. This next pitch will be number 48 for him. And this is the top of the 4th. Averaging just over 10 pitches an inning. Bowman will lead off a second. Don't know if he's going to take off again. They faked the check down, but again, nobody was covering the bag, so a little inconsequential there. Just trying to keep him as tethered as possible. Bowman has wheels. He's also probably one of the most intelligent baseball players on the Hardhats roster. A wily veteran, if you will. Can never be too safe with him, and there it is again. No balls and a strike to Alex Weaver. Still waiting on that second pitch. It's a game of cat and mouse right now between Bowman and Harris from second to the mound, respectively. Here comes the 0-1, finally. Next pitch is check swung on, but it's foul. 0-2 the count. This is almost a point for Weaver here. We saw the lack of decision-making in his first at-bat. He check swung 1 foul. He check swung to strike out, and he didn't fully commit to it. You know, Weaver's got to understand you've got to commit to what you're going to do at the plate. It's one thing to check it and not make contact with the ball, but that lack of indecision halfway through his swing, you got to have a lot more control over your bat. 0-2, swung on, and it caught him inside. High in the air, left side of the infield, and at third base, Caden Race makes the catch. So it'll be a pop 5 in the books. 2 down, still with that man in scoring position with the leadoff double in Bowman. That's going to bring us to Jace Caldwell. Caldwell has the other hit for the Hardhats in this ball game, which was also an extra base hit. And they're playing him pretty deep in the outfield. And time is called by Harris. He steps off the rubber. So Jace Caldwell up, his second at-bat of the game. 1 for 1 with a double, and then he was caught in an unfortunate base running gaffe. First pitch, swung on, and it's check swung. That's a fair ball. No, they're calling foul. Calling foul. It looked like it bounced fair. The infield umpire said it was foul. So Caldwell is behind 0-1. Oh and 1 the count. You have to figure for Caldwell that's a second life, because if that's the sequence in which your team's retired on the end of the inning when your leadoff man got a double to get in scoring position, then that's just an unfortunate sequence. Here comes the 0-1. That buzzes the tower high and inside, and it's a 1-1 count now. Hardhats trail 2-0 with 2 outs and a man on second here in the top of the 4th against the Gillette Roughriders of post 42. And 1-1, and they throw it into center field. They tried to pick off Bowman, and he's going to advance to third. And Bowman now 90 feet away from giving the Hardhats their first run of the ball game. That is an E1 charge to Harris. And both teams have an error on the board. Here comes the 1-1 to Caldwell. Swung on and missed a high fastball, and it's quickly 1-2. So if Caldwell gets a base hit, then surely the deficit is halved for the Hardhats, but he's got to come through here. He and Cooper Bowman have the only 2 hits in this ball game. Ball and 2 strikes. Does Harris get K number 8? 1-2 pitch is fouled, and that probably will thud on our press box. Oh, it looks like it cleared it. Still a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Harris about to throw his 54th pitch. Man 90 feet to the left of Caldwell. 1-2 again from Harris. Check swing. Did he go? They're saying he did. That's strikeout number 8. And another unfortunate lack of decision-making at the plate has cost the Hardhats. No runs on a hit, 1 error charged to the Roughriders on defense, and 1 man left 90 feet from home. We have played 3.5 innings of baseball, and the Hardhats still trail by a 2-0 score. We will head to the bottom of the 4th and the bottom 3 in the Roughriders order when we come back in just a few moments on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV. Post 22 Hardhats baseball here on ESPN Rapid City is presented by Courtesy Subaru, by Shields, Qdoba Mexican Eats, Renewal by Anderson, Sicky's Garage Burgers and Brews, Mustang Disaster Cleanup, and the Man Salon. Well, the scoreboard might not show a disaster, but there are just small things happening in this ball game that could potentially lead to a disaster for this Hardhats club. They trailed 2-0 to the Gillette Roughriders in a rematch of their season-opening win. And now, go to the bottom half of the 4th inning, looking to keep this a 2-0 deficit. And it looks like there's been a pitching change on the mound. Zach Sumption's start has come to an end. And Tad Sherbinski will now come onto the mound. Sherbinski was the one that was credited with the win against Gillette. Sumption pitched 3 innings. He allowed 2 runs. He ended up striking out 4 in the start. Didn't walk anyone, which was good. Allowed 4 hits. Tad Sherbinski now takes over for the Hardhats on the mound. This will be his 3rd appearance of the season. 4.2 innings of work under his belt. An ERA of 6 with 4 strikeouts. The first pitch is swung on, hit to third. Hegre charges, but he's going to hang on to it. That's an infield single for Dylan Hester to start off the bottom half of this 4th inning. Leadoff man is on. So Sherbinski again, 4 2/3 innings of work under his belt. He's allowed 5, now 6 hits, 4 runs, all of which are earned. He struck out 4, walked 1, and hit 1. Sherbinski takes a look to first now with Hester on the base path at 2 for 2. First pitch. It's a breaking ball that misses low and outside. It's 1-0 to Caden Race. Race ended up being the first of what were eventually 4 strikeouts for Zach Sumption. And now Sherbinski deals this 1-0, and that's a little too far inside to Race. It's 2-0. So final stat line for Sumption, 3 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts, no walks, 1 earned run on 2 allowed with 4 hits, and 53 pitches under his belt. Hester takes his lead off at first. Sherbinsky gives him a long look. 2-0 to race. Bunt is showed. Bunt is dropped first base side. Sherbinsky off the mound to field it. Toss to first is in time. So a sacrifice bunt advances Hester to scoring position. 1 down, a man in scoring position for the Riders, and that's going to bring us to Zach Brown, the shortstop. Sherbinsky, great on the defense there of that sacrifice bunt, but now it means that there's a run in scoring position for the Roughriders. Getting very aggressive here. Sherbinsky's first pitch to Brown, called strike at his belt. It's 0-1. Brown's 0 for 1. He was the second of 4 strikeouts issued by Sumption in his start. No balls and a strike to count. Sherbinsky from the stretch, a tall righty. Deals the 0-1. Swung on, and it's fouled to the mesh right in front of us. And it's 0-2. Back to the top of the order after Brown to Richards. 2-0 is the Roughriders lead, but they have a third one waiting in scoring position. Sherbinsky looking for his first K. 0-2 pitch. Swung on, and it's just fouled. And Brown stays alive, 0-2. Dylan Hester now on second, advanced by the sac bunt. No balls and 2 strikes. Sherbinsky again looking for that first K in this relief appearance. Be his 5th one of the season. And the 0-2 is upstairs, 1-2. So 1-2 now to Brown, the shortstop. 2-0 is the Roughriders lead. Sherbinsky again, a couple of looks to second. And Sherbinsky's going to step off as Hester, again, this fun game of cat and mouse between second and the pitcher. He started to take a very dangerous lead and then decided to go back. Maybe try and throw Sherbinsky off, maybe force an error there. Ball and 2 strikes to count. Sherbinsky looking to get down to business. Hester again is off the bag, same thing. A throw is faked to second. Cooper Bowman was in position to make the stop. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We're still waiting on that 4th pitch. And the pitch, swung on and missed, strike 3. And Sherbinsky gets his first strikeout in relief. A key second out recorded for the Hardhats on defense brings us back to the top of the order to Tanner Richards with a man on second and 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. 2-0 is the Roughriders lead. Richards is 0 for 2. He grounded out to short and reached on a costly error to third. That knocked in the second of 2 Roughriders runs. First pitch, low and away, ball 1. 1-0 the count here to Richards. If he perpetuates the inning, then Hayden Silty's on deck. If not, the Hardhats will go to 5, 6, and 7 in the order, starting off with Matt Hegre. Sherbinsky a look to second. And here's the 1-0 to Richards, but time was called. And I don't necessarily agree with that window that they'll still allow time to the batter, but that's why I'm up here and I'm not an umpire. Ball and no strikes to count. Richards steps back into the batter's box. Sherbinsky's again going to come from the stretch. And the 1-0. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air, but foul. And behind our press box. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. So here comes a 1-1 pitch. Hester takes his lead off second again. And Sherbinsky, just like always, is going to give him a brief look. They check to second, and the ball gets past Bowman and into center. Here comes King charging in. King the throw to third, and it is not in time. Oh, my goodness, and Hegre's questioning that call, but that was a very, very close play at third. And so Hester takes second on the throwing error from the mound. And so, Gillette now has a third run 90 feet from home. That's the second error of the ballgame for the Hardhats. And the 2-1 is outside, and it's now 3-1. From Sherbinski to, 2-1. There's an extra ball up on the scoreboard. 2 balls and a strike the count. And the 2-1's low and away, and now it's 3-1. 3 balls and a strike the count here to Richards. First and second are open. Third is occupied by Dylan Hester. Led off with the infield single. Next pitch is swung on, hit high in the air to right. Alex Weaver is tracking it. He's underneath it. He makes the catch, and that will end the threat for the Roughriders. No runs for the Roughriders on the power of a hit with 1 error charged to the Hardhats and a man left 90 feet from scoring. We've played 4 innings of baseball, and the Hardhats still trail Gillette by a 2-0 score. We'll take a quick step aside, and when we come back, Matt Hegre leads off the top half of the 5th inning. We'll be back with that and more here on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV.
Coke Zero goes with things like this. This. And this. Coke Zero tastes like this.
He shoots, he scores!
It sounds like this. It feels like this. So when the game is on, try it with this. Coke Zero. Real Coca-Cola taste. 0 calories, 0 sugar.
We have played 4 innings of baseball from Latke Memorial Stadium here in Gillette, Wyoming, and the post-22 Hardhats trail the Gillette Roughriders by a score of 2-0 as we head to the top of the 5th. Matt Hegre leads off the top of the 5th inning. 0 for 1, the third. Just got him. First base coach Nick Ewing not too happy with that, but it was the correct call. Hegre throwing out 1-3, just trying to get something sparked for the Hardhats on offense. 1 up, 1 down, and that'll bring us to Holden Jackson, the left fielder. Numbers across the board through 4+ innings of play. For the Hardhats, it's no runs on 2 hits with 2 errors in the field. And for the Gillette Roughriders, it's 2 runs on 6. Jackson coming into this game was batting .333, but he'd only appeared in 3 games in the batter's box. So this is number 4 for him. 0-1 from Harris. Skips towards home plate. And it's 1-1. Joseph Harris has been very efficient. Is away now from 60 in this start. We're in the top of the 5th. 1 out in the base path's empty for him, trailing 2-0 top of the 5th. There it is, backwards K. It's strikeout number 10 for Harris. And that ends the Hardhats' threat. No runs on a pair of hits with no errors charged to the Roughriders. 2 men left on the base path, 1 in scoring position. We've played exactly half the ball game. 4.5 innings of baseball, and the Hardhats have put up 5 zeros. They still trail 2-0. We'll come back with the 5th and Hayden Silty to lead off for Gillette here on ESPN. RBI single and a fly out to center. Sherbinski, first pitch, called strike. 0-1 the count to Driscoll. No balls and a strike the count here to Driscoll, the left fielder. Man on first, check to first, not in time. Sherbinski almost caught Rich. Asleep at the switch there. Buzzsaw, if you will, still on the mound, and the first pitch to Bowman is fouled. 0-1 to the Hardhat shortstop. Numbers across the board through 5+ innings of play. For the Hardhats, it's no runs on 4 hits, but 3 errors in the field. And for the Roughriders, it's 2 runs on 6 hits with 1 blemish on defense. Bowman 1 for 2 with a double and a strikeout. Bring us to Jace Caldwell, the first baseman. Caldwell is 1 for 2 in this ballgame with a double and the 8th of now 11 Joseph Harris strikeouts. And first pitch to Caldwell, rides high and upstairs on a fastball. 1-0. Caldwell batting .286 on the season. And boy, could he use a big hit here. 1-0 pitch is high and inside. And it's 2-0. 2-0 is the Gillette lead. 2-0 is Wells count with a man on first and 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. 2 on, and that's hit into the hole to left field for a base hit. And a back-to-back singles now for the Hardhats. 2 outs. And that's going to bring up the difference between Richardson, the catcher, and Harry. Hegre comes up 0 for 2. He's looking for. He has a backwards K and a ground out to the pit. So no balls. No, and he gets going to bring up Holden Jackson. Hardhats trailed 2-0. They're looking to keep it that way here in the bottom of the 6th. First pitch to Hester's upstairs for ball 1. And Trubinsky deals. Swung on, ball's hit to third. Hegre with the nice stop. Gathers the ball. Throw to first is in time. A big play there by Hegre, who at third base has just been very, very Caden race. That keeps the inning going, and that will bring. Brown is 0 for 2. He has struck out both times. Both times he has had a man. Schmidt is 0 for 2. He struck out both times looking. But the first time he was safe on the base path because strike 3 skipped to the backstop. So he's looking for his first hit, even though he's been on the base path once. First pitch breaks down low. It's 1-0. By the way, that was pitch number 94 from Joseph Harris in this start. 1 ball. And Schmidt will hang tight with one there, and it's 2-0. That was, as we say in the business, borderline suspect. Oh, to first, not in time, was Zach Brown. Brown did everything. Will most certainly take his defensive spot. It looks like we have a. So Hester pinch hits for Zach Brown, who's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. And here is first pitch. Swung on, and it's hit to short. Bowman gets the stop. Deep from short. Throw to first is in time. Play by Cooper Bowman to start off this bottom half of the 7th. He was shaken up at the end. That brings us back to the top of the order to Tanner, the center fielder. Richards is 0 for 3. And the first pitch. Swung on and missed. And 0-2 is the count. Richards upstairs, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Richards looking at an even count with every base open. 1 out, bottom of the 7th. It's still a 2-0 lead. 2-2. Swung on, ball's hit right up the middle. Bowman makes the stop on the run at short. Throw for 3. Called strike. Outside corner, it's 0-1 to Silte. At least the umpire is consistent with it, but not necessarily. From behind the plate to first base, Mason Powell is now on the mound. Dylan Hester, the DH, is now catching, and Austin Hester is now at shortstop. Ball and a strike now to King. King, Weaver, and Caldwell, as we mentioned, 2, 3, and 4. Hardhats trailed 2-0 here in the top of the 8th. 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball upstairs. It's 2-1 now to King. Numbers across the board for the Hardhats. It's no runs on 7 hits with 3 errors in the field. And for the Roughriders, it's 7 hits with an error defensively. 2-1. It's been issued a walk. Conference with the management of Gillette and pitching as well has ended. And Powell checks over to first, and King is back. 1-0 is the count to Weaver. We're still waiting on that second pitch. We're in the top of the 8th. Leadoff man aboard with a walk. The Hardhats still trail 2-0. First, King is back. I think you can call it strike at the knees of Caldwell. It's 1-1. Matt Heggery is on deck. Corners and no one out. Here in the top of the 8th. 2-0, the Roughriders lead. Powell deals a 1-2. That's upstairs. Good patience showcased there by Stevens. It's 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes now to the Hardhats pinch hitter. We will see where defensively he comes into the fold. Check to first. Weaver's back. Stevens has 2 balls and 2 strikes. We have another changing of the guard. Appearance ended after 42 pitches, 3 innings in which he left. Wall, rounding second, heading third, and rounding third and heading home is Powell. And into second with the RBI double is Brody Richardson. And the Roughriders now have a 3-1 lead over the Hardhats with a man on second and no one out here in the bottom of the 8th. And R for Brody Richardson with no outs. That'll bring us to Caleb. Has an RBI hit himself. He's 1 for 3, and he looks at ball 1 upstairs. 1-0 the count. Unfortunate now comes up. He has men 90 feet to either side of him. 4-1 is the Roughriders lead, and he is looking to blow this open. Corners are in. Middle infield is at double play depth, and the first pitch to Hester is a called strike. 0-1 the count to Hester. That's the first time, by the way, that's called strike again. 0-2 to Hester. Sorensen hustle first out for the Hardhats as Bowman gets the pop out. 1 down, bases are still loaded, and that's going to bring up Austin Hester, the shortstop. Hester, 0 for 1, grounded out to short in his first. 1-0, misses low. It's 2-0 to Hester. Dylan Hester's on first. Caleb Lewis is on second. Caleb Driscoll's on third. And the count evens up at 1-1. Schmidt, Deming, Bowman, the 3 gentlemen scheduled to hit in this top of the 9th. The Hardhats need some 9th inning magic. Full windup for Powell. Here's the 1-1. Swung on, and the ball is hit up the middle and into center for a base. Ryan Schmidt, 2 for 4. Back-to-back third base line. It's fielded, and the throw to first is not careless on the base path. They've been careless too many times in this ball game on the base path, and it has come back to bite them. Carter Deming nearly asleep at the switch there. So we still have yet to see a first pitch to King. Here it comes. First pitch is swung on, and it's ripped into right for a base hit. 1 run's going to come in and score. Deming's got the green light. They now trail 5-3 here in the top of the 9th. Weaver struck out and popped out to third. But since then, and then Alex Weaver is single, and then he advanced on the error at center. So he's on second. The tying run 180 feet away from home. Caden Race came also in relief against the Hardhats all the way back on May 2nd. And now here's the first pitch. For the Hardhats, who gave the Roughriders one heck of a run at the top of the 9th. The rally falls short. Heggery had Gillette hangs on, and they get the win. Folks, we're going to step aside. We'll be right back in just a few moments with our post-game show and recap here on ESPN Rapid City as the Hardhats